My name is Michael Turner. I'm 32 years old. I was born in Portland, Oregon, and I'll never forget the summer I decided to cross half the world to film the heart of the Amazon. I had only one thing in mind: to capture footage for my channel Urban Frontiers. I wanted to show the American public something that no mainstream camera had shown before: the raw, primitive, and almost unimaginable life of the deepest jungle. Deep down, I wanted to prove that there were no monsters, that the largest snake in the world had already been documented, that everything was just exaggeration from fishermen and poorly told stories on conspiracy blogs. On the first night in Manaus, I drank a cold Budweiser at a simple inn and listened to my Brazilian guide Rafael Souza repeat the same fable I had already read in obscure forums. There's a snake that never dies. Sometimes they call it Mãe d'Água, sometimes Cobra Preta. It doesn't hunt like an animal. It chooses. And when it chooses, no one comes back. I laughed. He just stared at me for a few seconds in silence, as if waiting for the laughter to die on its own. And it did. On the second day, we set off on the Rio Negro in a narrow boat with a noisy engine and the smell of gasoline mixed with decaying plant matter. I held my drone like it was a diamond. That cutting-edge equipment with a 4K stabilizer couldn't fail. It was my bridge to go viral, to explode in followers. Every frame could be worth thousands of dollars in advertising. The jungle was oppressive. It didn't just seem like a heap of trees, it seemed like a living organism. The noise never stopped. Insects buzzed like electric shocks, and sometimes a crack would echo so loudly that I thought an entire tree was breaking. In the late afternoon, I launched the drone for the first time over the river. The screen on my phone showed perfect images of the brown waterway in contrast with the dark green of the banks. I calmly slid the controls, imagining the post-editing, frame by frame. For a few minutes it was just another technical flight, until something emerged at the water's edge. At first I thought it was just a shadow cast by submerged branches, but the shape moved against the current, slowly, impossibly slowly, as if it had no weight. It sank and reappeared farther along, near the bank filled with twisted roots. I zoomed in. My heart dropped when I realized that it was a body dragging itself through the water, but not with the shape of pythons or boas I had seen in zoos. The thickness was absurd. If I put a Budweiser beer barrel next to it, the barrel would seem small. I was hypnotized. I could distinguish black scales, some reflecting the sunset light as if they were wet metal. The thing disappeared again, sinking with a rippling movement. "Did you see that?" I asked in loud English, even though I knew Rafael only understood part of it. He muttered in Portuguese, "Don't film this, Michael. Bring the drone back." The last shot I recorded before the battery died was the most disturbing. 2 points of light appeared on the surface, very close together. For a moment, I had the distinct impression that they were eyes. Eyes reflecting the camera, as if they were aware I was watching them. The drone landed with difficulty, and the boat's engine seemed to sputter in the void. Rafael held the helm tightly, without looking me in the eye. For the first time, I felt a chill run down my spine, the kind of chill that had absolutely nothing to do with temperature. That night, lying in the hammock in the damp, stuffy inn, I revealed the footage on my laptop. The noise of the insects outside was deafening. I turned the volume up on the video and got goosebumps. I could hear a deep rumble, as if something was breathing underwater, deeper, heavier, a breath that seemed to be in my room. I rewound the footage in slow motion, studying each frame like an investigator. That's when I saw it clearly. It wasn't just eyes. For a few seconds, reflected in the waves, there was the outline of something. A huge, triangular head, wider than any snake documented to date. I held my breath. My forehead was soaked with sweat. I saved the footage on 2 memory cards. I backed it up on an external hard drive, and then, for precaution, uploaded everything to my Google Drive. There was no way I could lose that. It was the proof. But the scariest detail was yet to come, and I only realized it in the early morning when I woke up sweating, feeling like someone was watching me. I went to check the laptop, the hard drive, and the cards. One of the files was gone. Not corrupted, not renamed, just deleted as if it had never existed. And I swear on everything that is sacred, I'm absolutely sure it wasn't me who deleted it. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of the broken fan creaking like a metallic lament. The room was hot and humid, the smell of rotting wood mixed with sweat. I shouldn't have looked at the laptop, not at that hour, but something was pulling me toward it. The videos, they were there, partially. The folders showed footage from the first flights, but the most impactful file, the one with the eyes, had disappeared. I did a quick scan, used data recovery programs, even tracked it on Google Drive. Nothing, just an unexpected error. It was impossible. I remembered the process step by step, card, backup, upload. I had been almost obsessive. There was no way I could have made a mistake. Cold sweat stuck to the back of my neck. I closed the laptop and tried to think. It was too late to warn Raphael, who was sleeping in the hammock in the other room. I left the inn and walked along the creaking wooden terrace. The jungle seemed awake, thousands of invisible eyes blinking between trees, leaves, shadows. But there was something else. On the boat, Raphael had told me not to film that. It was as if he already knew. I started to wonder if I had gotten involved in something much bigger than I had imagined. The next morning, I tried to confront him, even though it was a mix of broken English and a few words in Portuguese. "The footage is gone, the main file, it's gone, disappeared." He just stared at me, his eyes deep, and said something that froze me. "I warned you. Do you think it's just an animal? It disappears because it can't be shown. Understood? It's not just a snake. It's something that doesn't accept being seen." His tone wasn't of cheap superstition. It was fear, real fear. I spent the day on edge. The boat drifted further down the river, and I tried once again to fly the drone, but the signal seemed sabotaged, constant interference, as if the very air rejected the technology. The images came with static, the screen shaking. Until, at one point when flying over a narrow bend in the river, the signal cleared for a few seconds, and I saw something I'll never be able to erase from my memory. It wasn't just the snake. It wasn't just an enormous body gliding under the water. It was the distinct sensation of someone or something following the drone, not from the instinct to hunt, but as if it was aware of what a camera was. As if it knew I was trying to record it. The drone focused automatically, and for a brief moment, on the surface of the water, something emerged. The texture of a scale, huge, reflecting the light like polished steel, but irregular, almost too organic to be natural. The drone's motor failed soon after. It fell into the river like a stone. I swallowed hard. The equipment, my years of investment, disappeared into the murky waters. All I heard was the muffled metallic sound and the brown foam swallowing it all. Back at the inn, I tried to review what little remained of the saved footage. And that's when I noticed something that almost made me vomit. The eyes. They didn't just reflect light. Frame by frame, I zoomed in as much as I could. Inside them, there was a different reflection. Impossible. It looked like a frame of a figure. A shadowy outline. As if someone was standing in the darkness of the jungle, looking back at the camera but through the eyes of the creature. I didn't sleep that night. Around 3 in the morning, I heard heavy footsteps on the inn's porch. I got up slowly, my heart racing. The wood creaked, and someone approached the door of my room. I held my breath. I felt a shadow pass through the crack. I was ready to scream, to run, but the door never opened. The footsteps slowly receded until they disappeared. Then the silence was absolute. When the sun rose, I discovered a mud mark right at the entrance. A long, distorted footprint. It wasn't human, it wasn't a boot. It was like the imprint of something with scales sliding, but with a tip that resembled fingers. My first thought was, someone's following me. The second was much worse. This isn't human. I managed to contact my family using the inn's makeshift satellite. My mother listened to me with a trembling voice. I begged her not to tell my father, only saying that I was recording something enormous. She begged me to come back, but I kept repeating, "Mom, if I post these images, the world will change forever." But deep down I knew. Someone or something didn't want this posted, and it was warning me. I spent the third day with the constant feeling that I was being followed. The Amazon River seemed to have eyes. The slight movement on the banks, the muffled sound of something breaking the surface dozens of meters away. Everything made me turn my head abruptly, breathing short. Raphael was growing increasingly silent. When I asked again about what he knew, if he had ever seen the snake that doesn't die, he answered without looking at me. "Don't speak of it anymore. The more you talk, the closer it gets. The forest listens." I wanted to laugh, but I couldn't. Not after what I had seen on the screen. That same day, we passed a small riverside community. Children played by the water. Women washed clothes. Men adjusted fishing nets. The atmosphere seemed normal until some people saw me holding the spare drone controller I still had stashed. The smiles disappeared. Old men walked away, turned their backs. A woman grabbed a child's arm and quickly pulled them inside, as if I carried a plague. I asked Raphael in English, "What is wrong? Why are they staring at me like that?" He only answered, "They know. Here things are spoken in silence." At night I tried recording again. I launched the drone high above the river, almost at the horizon line, painted orange by the sunset. At first the images were calm, showing the dense forest blending with the infinite water. Then something unsettling happened. A signal issue, but it was different from any usual bug. The screen went black for 2 seconds, and when it returned, it wasn't the drone's view. It was as if something had hijacked the feed. The image showed the interior of the very inn's cabin, my things, my open backpack on the table, the laptop. The camera slowly turned, like a human gaze holding the device. I let go of the control instantly. Raphael shut off the boat's engine, horrified. The feed returned to normal only after a few seconds, showing the tree canopy again. I was trembling. This was impossible. A hacker attack in the middle of the jungle, or worse. When we returned, I rushed to my room. The objects were exactly as they had appeared in the video. The laptop was open, still on, blinking on a dark screen, and in the middle of it, a phrase written in Portuguese. "Don't post." My stomach churned. I didn't know whether to scream, run, or destroy the computer. My heart was pounding like a military drum in my chest. That night, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided I needed a drink to silence my mind. I grabbed a bottle of cachaça from the inn's owners and went up to the porch. The jungle moved like a giant animal breathing around me. Raphael stayed by the riverbank, hunched over, staring intently at the water. Suddenly I heard the first scream. It came from the forest. High-pitched human slicing through the air like a blade. My body froze. Raphael muttered something quickly in Portuguese, like a prayer. Without thinking, I grabbed the flashlight and advanced a few meters into the sparse woods, until the light reached the impossible. Between the trees, I saw a fallen trunk. It wasn't a trunk. It was the massive body of the creature, slowly crossing the wet earth. The scale reflected the flashlight's light like wet glass. The body seemed endless. A wave of nausea washed over me. Then the eyes appeared motionless just a few meters off the ground, enormous, and behind them, for a moment I swear, I saw the shape of arms. Human, as if something was merging, blending inside the very mass of the snake. I fell to my knees. I heard not with my ears but inside my head a deep, dragged voice. "Stop looking, or you will be chosen." I closed my eyes. When I opened them, there was nothing, only broken vegetation, wide marks in the mud. I ran back to the inn, almost in a trance. Raphael grabbed my arm, shook me 3 times. "You saw it, didn't you? Now you're marked." The problem was he was right, I was marked. Because that very night when I tried to sleep again, the forbidden file had reappeared on the laptop, but not as a video. Now, it was only a single image, frozen. A photo of me, sleeping in the hammock. I don't exactly remember how the day broke, because I didn't sleep a wink the entire night. On the laptop screen, that frozen photo of me sleeping blinked as if it were a corrupted file. I tried to close it. Nothing happened. I deleted it. The file returned. I copied it to a USB drive in a desperate attempt to get it out of there. But when I opened it, it was another photo. This time I wasn't sleeping. I was wide-eyed, staring at the camera. The terror burned inside my chest like fever. The feeling of being constantly watched never left me, even when I was away from the computer. And inside, a certainty that was destroying me, whatever that thing was. It didn't matter whether I posted it or not. It had already chosen me. I decided to leave, abort the expedition, go back to the United States before it was too late. Raphael begged me to leave the laptop behind, to delete all backups. "If you take this, it will follow you there too," he said. I only replied, "Then follow me, because I won't leave the only proof of my life behind." The return trip by boat was a nightmare under the open sky. The river was abnormally silent, as if the entire forest had stopped breathing. There were no birds, no insects, nothing. Only the hum of the engine. Every meter covered felt like pushing the boat deeper, not out. And then it happened. The boat rocked violently. Something colossal passed beneath us, pushing the hull as if it were a sheet of paper. Raphael fell backward, screaming. I instinctively grabbed my camera, trying to capture anything. The second impact was worse. Water exploded over the sides and the oars shook like breaking bones. We almost capsized. And then, finally, it emerged. From the middle of the river, like a shadow rising against the laws of nature, the colossal head of the creature surfaced, black scales dripping with rotten water. Eyes fixed on me. Not on Raphael, on me. In that moment, I had the terrifying conviction that it wasn't just an animal, it was a conscious predator. And I wasn't just prey, I was the target. The snake, or whatever it was, raised part of its body like a tower. The width was absurd, a living tunnel of pulsating muscles. Raphael prayed in Portuguese, his voice broken. "Don't look into its eyes," he screamed. But it was too late. I looked. And in that second, my mind was invaded. I no longer saw the river. I no longer heard Raphael. I was somewhere else. Liquid darkness, no air, no time. I saw quick images, like flashes injected directly into my brain. American laboratories with dissected bodies in glass tanks. Documents stamped with the CIA's seal about experiments in the Amazon. Images of people being swallowed alive, but still conscious inside the creature's stomach. And lastly, I saw myself, alone in a hotel room in Portland, the laptop open, and behind me a scaly shadow waiting in the reflection of the screen. I came back to myself, spitting water and blood, the boat violently rocking. Raphael tried to row anywhere. I tried to turn on the camera, but it was already turning on by itself, the lens focused on my face, streaming live. On the screen, words began to appear, as if someone was typing them for me. "You've already posted." It was then that I understood. I had no choice, I never did. The creature, or the entity inside it, had used me as a bridge. Every video I tried to record, every upload, every cloud copy, it was already spreading. I wasn't just a witness, I was the transmitter. The boat capsized. I only remember the water swallowing everything, the crushing weight dragging my body down. Darkness, pressure, silence. Before I lost consciousness, I opened my eyes underwater, and I saw it again. The enormous eyes, circling my sanity, reflecting my image like a mirror. But behind me there were others. Many others. Human faces trapped within the reflection, as if the creature collected every person who had dared look at it. Distorted faces, screaming without sound. When I woke up, I was no longer in the river. I was home in Portland, in my room, wet, trembling, the laptop open before me. As if nothing had happened, as if it had all been a nightmare. Except for one detail. On the monitor, there was a live stream already in progress on my Urban Frontiers channel. Real-time comments were exploding in English. "Is this real? Holy shit, look at that thing. Guys, share this." The stream showed me, here, now, from behind, writing this account. And in the reflection of the screen, far behind me, the eyes were still there.